Hello and welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast, the no bullshit podcast for the outdoor enthusiasts. If you're into hunting, fishing, fine wines and even finer foods, you've come to the right place. So pull up a chair.
Hello and welcome back to the Irish Hunting Podcast, episode number 96. On this week's episode, myself and Rob sit down and chat about our recent Predator Challenge. The hits, the misses, and the giggles. We also discuss the recent political storm involving our sport, and the necessities and the challenges facing people who engage in predator control. Enjoy this one, folks. Mr. Tracy, welcome back. How are you?
Hi, Mark. Good, buddy.
I just see you more than the wife.
Honest to God. We're on the road.
On the road again. We're on the way down to Lakelands.
Lakelands, yeah.
We've some business to do. We have to set up this clay shoot for coming up next week. That's the 14th, isn't it?
14th. Next weekend.
Next weekend. Yeah. So, we're tipping down there. We're going to have we may have a pop at a few clays because just to get our eye in, and well, Ross McQuaid has put a challenge down to you, so I have to make sure that everything's in line.
Not much of a challenge now, but look, we'll entertain them.
Now, McQuaid, if you were listening to that, the challenge is set, my man. I don't know what sort of bounty is between the two of you, but look, we'll sort it out for the day.
Just bragging rights.
Yeah. Come here. It'll be good crack. Ross is coming down early to help us set up and stuff, and we should be getting our clays ran off early, so then we can start splitting up then and doing the other teams when they come down. So we've a nice few coming down. I think we've 24, 25 this year.
Yeah.
So it's nicely building.
Nice numbers, and Lakeland is the right spot there.
It's brilliant. We were able to alternate stands last year and ran it off pretty quickly and seamlessly, and everyone had a bit of crack. So everyone's really looking forward to it. And then of course the after party is back down in Roaches. So do the presentation and have all the trophies set there from Wallace's and Clane, and we're ready to rock.
Just make sure my trophy's nice and clean, will you?
Don't worry, I'll polish it for you, man. I'll polish it for you.
Not a chance am I going to win that.
Look, there's it's not about winning, Robert. It's about taking part. Says every loser ever.
Yeah. So there are some good shots actually entering.
There is a few decent shots in there. But yeah, look, that's steel, star, you know what I mean? Steel sharpens steel.
Yeah.
It's good crack. Come here. We were late last night. We were doing the podcast with Andy
Henderson.
I was going to call him Robertson again. It's in my head, you see. That was a good one, wasn't it?
It was very interesting, very nice fella.
Savage.
And like that, he's invited us down, and we're gonna take him up on the offer.
Absolutely. We're going to start the tour of Ireland. So we'll be doing that now over the next couple of months. Plans are afoot.
I told them by next week we'll make some sort of solid enough plan.
Yeah.
Of when we're going down. So.
Because that's what happened. We won't feel, man. Like, deer season's going to open before we know it. Speaking of which, did you get your deer license done?
No. And I tell you why. I actually logged into the portal eventually, and they want me firearms certificate. Sure, isn't mine up for renewal, and I've left it in. So I'm waiting on firearm sergeant there to come back to me. Which actually, I'll give him a buzz when we finish this podcast and see whereabouts we're at. Because there's a couple of, I left in my European firearms license because it's out of date and we're going to Hungary. So I need it for that. And I'm looking to include my shotgun just in case we're travelling with shotguns as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, mine literally came back. In fairness, the portal is the job, man. I know there was a lot of kind of ifs, ands and buts about it, but I think I uploaded mine early last week, and by the weekend it was sent to me. So I'm ready to rock, and it's very easy to use. Does away with I just think something like that with the firearms application could really be beneficial, you know.
Yeah, but then that would mean they'd have to civilionise all of that. And,
I know.
And the Gardaí then lose oversight. And to be honest, with some of the stuff that's been happening lately, you would argue that they should have oversight.
Yeah, no, there's, I suppose, for a renewal of an application, if I still think there's an easier way to do it.
It should be slicker.
Yeah.
See, the two lads that look after mine, Terry and Tom, they're based in Kilcullen, even though my station is Nice.
Yeah.
So I drop it into Nice. By the time it gets to them, they do the business. By the time it gets back, so it'll come around. They're actually very, very good and very obliging.
In fairness, ours as well could not be. I think my license was. I actually rang just to see where it was, because it was a couple of weeks, and there was a spate of them. And when I just explained that, look, I need it for the deer license and so on. And in fairness, within the week, it was back out to me. My European firearms license, same thing. She actually said to me, Antoinette said to me, yeah, that's actually expired. Do you want to renew that? And while I have it, are you putting your shotgun and your 2.2 on it? And I said, yes, absolutely. And
put everything on it.
Yeah, like that. Dropped it in the door. It was back out to me within a week.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong, like.
So that's the only reason I haven't finished the application for this deer stalking license.
Yeah.
But I will.
No, you'll get there, man.
Yeah. Because we have a fishing trip. See, this is all going to rock around for you. We have a fishing trip. We're going to Sligo. We have Hungary. The deer season kicks off. I want to do a bit of beach fishing.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about possibly the UK.
Yep.
Which, realistically, I don't think we can squeeze everything in.
Huh?
I don't think we can.
So we're only 6 months gone, man. That means there's 6 months left. Look, we'll see. We'll see. We've which reminds me, I have to get back onto the taxidermist over in England, because our heads should be in some sort of process of getting started.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them now.
Yeah. I was having, after you left last night, I had another pint or two.
Did you?
Well, the cooler was on, man. And it's efficient if it's to be turned off.
I had 2 glasses of red wine when I got home as well.
So, yeah, I was looking, and I think I know where I'm going to put them. You know the little brick arch?
Yeah.
I think one either side, just up slightly higher.
I'm actually itching to go back over to the lads.
Yeah, so am I, man. That was really cool. I think it was one of my favourites so far, you know?
Yeah, and I have her sold on it as well.
Yeah.
Because you can do something different every day there.
You could.
You could do a driven shoot. The women could get all dolled up and load for us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I like the way your head is at, man.
Like gentry.
And then that little seat thing, you know, the peg, we could lie back there.
My little legs get tired.
Yeah. Yeah, what a wankers. But yeah, so there's that. We have the clay shoot next week. So every week now, from now on, there's going to be something. And we're talking about beach fishing some week in June-ish.
Yeah. See, you'll be away then for a bit as well.
Yeah, on the beach.
Yeah, on the beach as well, yeah. So I'll try to get it done before that. I actually have a week where Laura's actually heading away. So in that week might be perfect.
Brilliant. That's what we might do. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
Come here, we did a little bit of fox shooting.
We did.
We had the great idea of a predator challenge, right? And it was great interest. And I have to take blame for this, because with everything that was going on, we were trying to drive our social stuff, and we were trying to line up guests and the program for the next couple of months and stuff. So all that was happening, and in the middle of that, then the clay shoot and all that kind of jazz. In the middle of that, should we have a predator challenge? There was great interest in it, but then we picked, I think, the wrong night.
Well, you can blame me on that, because I picked that night.
Yeah, but there was very little options. I think both of us were. And
we should have known.
Yeah.
When the bold Jan came back and says, I'm out because I have to work, and we went, all right, Jan's out, but we'll still tip. That should have been an indicator.
Yeah.
That here, everyone has to go to work.
I know.
It has to be up early. And
Not everyone's crazy like us and going to bed at 4:30 and back up at 7:30.
So we will reorganise it for a more amenable date to more people.
Because a few people did say they were disappointed that they couldn't take part in it.
Yeah.
A couple did, and as I said, we'll get some merch out to them over the next couple of days just for taking part. So we won't be announcing winners per se, but the idea was great. There was great interest in it, and the night, in fairness, was a good crack.
It was good crack from our perspective, but what was really eye-opening is, lads, anyone in a gun club, if you're not doing predator control, there is huge numbers out there.
Yeah.
Like, we were in a small area, and I actually lost count, but I know it was high 20s.
It was high 20s, man. 25 plus.
Yeah, that we seen. And I wasn't expecting that because, in fairness, you have been, maybe not recently, but in not so long ago, you were hopping off them in that area.
Yeah. And there's another man as well that does a lot of, like, would shoot a couple a week in that area.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, astronomical numbers considering that's, like, it wasn't as if we were going searching in all the hard places.
No.
We were just literally driving up beside the field and there'd be one mooching down the far end of the corner. Now, again, no interest in coming up our neck of the woods, but in fairness, we got on a couple, man. We got on a couple. Where did we start?
What do you mean, where did we start?
Where did we start? Where was the first spot we ran? We went down my lane, did we, first?
Went down your lane. Actually, didn't see anything down there on the first
run. Yeah.
The first run. And then we went out too early as well. That was the other side of it.
Yeah.
We started at 6.
Yeah.
It doesn't get dark till. We thought we might catch one or two mooching if it was a sunny day, but it wasn't. It was hopping rain that evening.
Yeah.
So we actually took a break and waited for it to turn dark, and then we went back out again.
And literally just as that, I think we went up around the club. Not too many up around the club, in fairness. One or two mooching on the higher bog end of stuff. But in fairness, I don't think we didn't have a pop at all down around the club, did we?
No. It was when we came up.
The far side of the club.
The far side of the club
ground.
I actually said, I'm getting a tingle up here on the right hand side, just go over that bridge. You pulled into a gate and a fox ran from the gate.
Yeah. And then sat, 30
Very
meters?
close, yeah.
20 metres, less, I'd say, less.
Yeah.
And just, we got out, it was down a farm lane, and we were able to just literally open the door, out on the fox, and bang. That was the first one down. And there was another one over in that far corner to the right, mooching.
I couldn't take a shot of that because that was heading back towards the road.
Towards the roadway, yeah. And then we shot down the talker down the far end, and right on the left hand side, remember? There was a little bit of a beat field or something like that.
Yeah.
You hit one there.
So I missed one.
The first one you missed, yeah.
The first one I missed. I had a shocker, but I'll tell you now in a sec. The first one I missed. And then maybe 5 minutes later, we were walking back out. There's another one in the exact same spot.
Yeah,
so
literally.
I managed to get him, but in its totality, for the amount we've seen,
we should have had higher numbers in the bottom.
We should have had a lot. Like, I shot like a dickhead. Me torch went dead. I dialed in for the wrong distance. I got caught in a barbed wire fence. I wanted to give up at one stage.
I know.
It's a different, like, I know we all do field sports and shooting and different types of shit, but lamping or foxing is a completely different skill set in itself. Like, I remember you laughing at me because I went, me admin's in a jocker, and you just broke into laughter. Me admin. But I like to know where everything is in each pocket in the dark.
Yeah.
So my spare batteries are in my bottom right pocket. My thermal is in my bottom left. Like, I know where everything is, and for some reason,
everyone's all over the place.
I was all over the shop.
But you see, that's probably, you haven't been out fox shooting in a while, so it's like
last year.
Yeah, exactly. So it's you think, yeah, I'm grand, but then like that when you go out, similar to that, I thought I was well organised, but the one thing I didn't do was change the battery that was in my torch, which meant that quite literally, as we were on it, Fox, it started to die.
That was me shooting. I was like, what's going on here? And I kept on tapping it, and it'd come back for a second. Right, no, I haven't. Oh, it's gone again.
Yeah. So, yeah, look, best prepared and all as we were. But getting back to your first one, that other fox was less than 10, 15 metres away from where you shot at that one.
Yeah.
And the other one scampered away to the right. Not in a mad hurry either, but again, couldn't take a second shot. It kind of stopped, but there was a break between the two big mounds, remember that?
Yeah.
And that's heading back towards the road. So we couldn't take that one. And literally we were watching him, and we were going to turn back out that field. I went to turn, and here didn't. I said, there's another one just there.
Yeah.
And he was just sitting there.
Sat there and looked at us.
Looked at us, yeah. And you took him. We went, the field. Remember we seen the other one coming racing across, and it came into the high grass. Down that lane.
Did I shoot at that, or you?
No, I don't think we shot at that.
Did we not? I know there was one of them came running in.
Yeah, so the other one came literally horsing in from the right hand side of that field, but came into the big heavy grass. Remember, he was kind of bopping. You could see the heads. But again, there was, and just shows you the benefits of thermal, man. There was sheep in that high grass. There obviously have to be net in there. I guarantee you didn't have thermal there. Some of them you wouldn't be able to spot.
100%.
Yeah.
That's not even a question. I would nearly argue now that there is no point going fox shooting without thermal, because once or twice we flicked on a torch, and I'd say they stood for a second and bolted. So the old ways of trying to spot their eyes with a torch, and even see spotting their eyes, I actually think it's a dangerous enough way of doing it, because you could misidentify something, but with the thermal you get to see the body shape, the movement, everything.
And what's behind it. I think that there was a couple of like lambs in that field, and to put in perspective, the grass was definitely 1.5 feet high, because it's kind of marshy out ground, and like that you'd be watching the fox coming across, and then in the thermal, and then all of a sudden you'd see like a flicker, and there'd be a lamb coming across your sight line, literally. So like that, I just think it's a very, very safe way of fox hunting now.
I can give you a live example of that night. You had the thermal. My setup is a normal scope and a torch, and you said there's one out there, it's that direction. I set up, I put on the torch, I start getting ready, I was about to shoot, and you went, you see the cattle there behind them? And I went, no, I don't see any cattle, I'm only on a white torch. And you went, no, stop, with the thermal I can see cattle. I was like, oh yeah, okay. I guarantee you need it now,
without a doubt. And they were, what happened was, the night was shit, man. It was horrendous, wasn't it? It was heavy rain and downpours at times. So the cattle all kind of pushed into a little corner, and the fox itself was heading behind the fox. Lovely backstops, high mound and trees. But he was making his way over to the drain, and so he was literally crossing where you would have been shooting at. Now look, I still think you wouldn't have hit the cattle, right? But you wouldn't have known that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't have known what was behind the fox, because my torch only goes so far.
Only goes that far.
And look, you don't know. We've seen with the projectiles, they can go in, clip a bone, and head off in a different direction.
Yeah, especially on small animals like that, you know.
Yeah. So I'd nearly argue it's nearly an essential piece of kit at this stage.
Without a doubt. Where was the third one shot, man? Where did we shoot the third one?
I actually don't know.
We did shoot a third one.
I can't remember, because we were out till all hours. What time did we wrap up?
Oh, it was 4:30.
Yeah.
Remember the big heavy one? That was the one.
Was that not down your lane?
No. Remember I shot that one across in my lane, and it ran with its tail up in the air.
I have thermal footage of that, and from the report of the shot, I'm fully convinced you hit that.
I actually came away from my scope because I knew, well, the sound, boom,
Yeah.
I was on it, so I'm pretty sure. But he ran like, so you know, a telltale sign is when the tail obviously goes up, straight up into the air, and they take, like, you take, for example, the one that you shot at, and he took off. He was kind of cantering, like, not because they're looking for. This lad took off like an absolute antichrist. So he's down. Just it didn't recover him. But I'm just trying to think where it was. The other lad, the third one. Boom, boom, boom. That's a fucking good question now. I shot it anyway.
And that's debatable.
That is, well, that's the truth. I just can't remember where we shot.
You definitely shot 2, and I shot 1. I should have shot fucking 21, but look, we all have.
Now, in fairness, I only think we pulled the trigger maybe 5 times, maybe 6.
Yeah, but you know the way they start adding up. I missed again and again. I'm going home.
I know. But it's different shooting, isn't it? We're out deer shooting. You're out in daylight hours. You're able to range find a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? Because deer are mooching around to give you a little bit more time. Where a fox, kind of like the muntjac, man, they never sit still. They're never stopped. They're never. And the minute the light goes on them, you have that second, and then they're off. Yeah. So it's a great way of getting your eye in for the deer season as well, I think.
Yeah.
It's brought on my shooting. I know that for a fact. And that wouldn't be hard. But it has brought
I see leaps and bounds in your shooting since you started deer fox shooting. Yeah.
Without a doubt. Because it gives you that confidence and as well as that, you know, it takes away a little bit of the flinchiness and stuff like that. So it's a great way to get in.
And here, have you been following this bill?
Yeah. So there's loads of debate. I was actually talking to Nisha O'Carroll. It was out in the IHP studio the other day. So he's a TD. So just obviously there's stuff going on in the club, and I wanted to talk to him about that. We're trying to, you know, highlight some of the work we're doing locally and for the community and stuff like that. Not for any personal benefit, but for the good of game clubs, you know, and try and promote it that way. And while we're there, obviously, I wanted to talk to him about the proposed bill. So obviously, Ruth Coppinger has tried to bring it up, which she's successful in bringing it to the debate stage. Now, Nisha has said to me that it's highly unusual that something wouldn't be allowed to be debated. So they've obviously allowed it to go to the second stage to be debated. But make no mistake, and I said to Nisha as well, I don't know what your stance is on it. Like most, probably he did a bit of fishing and he's involved in country life and would have a fair idea, but probably wouldn't be, you know, clued in terms of fox hunting. And I said to him, well, there's benefits that are probably not publicised because they can't be. You know, they're not going to make mainstream media. You also have a heritage and culture here of, you know, a couple of 100 years of this activity. So you're stripping rural Ireland of its identity if this is the start of what they're trying to push through, you know. So he's given her support that he won't be in favour of supporting the bill, and I think by all accounts not many will be. But we still have to keep pressure on, keep lobbying our TDs to ensure, and we'll be keeping a very close eye on who votes what way, you know. So that's the insurance that he gave us. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. My personal opinion would be there is not that many hunts. Like there's not that many, so what they do doesn't actually make a huge difference to the population. But the population does need to be controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, am I in agreement with the bill? No, I'm not, because this is only the start of them trying to splinterize the field sports, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And once I'm saying they, like, it's a League of Shadows trying to get us all. It's not, like, but once that is taken away, it's going to move on to the next thing. And the next thing could be
Yeah.
fishing or rifle shooting, deer stalking. So I think field sports in general are stronger together, and if we stuck together to put up some sort of fight about it,
Yeah.
that's basically what I think. But like that, everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah, look, similar to that, Rob, I think there's a couple of things there where, we've managed to be talking to people in the horse industry, like Chris Brady last week, and we've also, had the opportunity to go down on the foothounds, and they're intrinsically linked, So if one is stopped, well, then the very next thing, it's obviously one is a knock-on effect anyway to the next industry, because you take the dog breeding part of that, the breeding of hounds and stuff. You're going to have an impact on that, and a lot of these, like I know down where I was, you would have the foothounds and then the horse hounds, the two stables side by side. Do you know what I'm saying?
You think about the money that's generated from that sport. Salary, the veterinary bills, feed, people coming into areas to support and using local restaurants. Just it nearly unquantifiable.
Yeah.
The amount of money that's involved.
Dog food, you've just have a whole mini industry. And again, what I'd be saying is very simply, if people are talking to their councillors and TDs, in rural Ireland we have very few things left. I was watching Jeremy Clarkson last night, and the amount of pubs that are closing over in England. He's trying to get a pub open over there on his show or whatever, right? And it just got me thinking, like, there's almost it's like the death of rural England over there. And I think that coincided with, like, they've fox hunting bans over there. Hunting is now, there's with Chris Packham and all this kind of stuff, there's a big pushback against it. And we're killing rural Ireland, like, slice by slice. And this is a part of it. I'm not saying it's the big part of it, but I'm saying it's a part of it. And all these little bits add up. Obviously, rural Ireland people can't, nor should they be drinking driving, but I'm saying since that was, a lot of old people are isolated, their pubs, their local fulcrum for their news, their social, their nipping down. It wasn't even about the alcohol, so we're taking all that out of it,
Yeah. See, to go back to the foxes part of it, it all has to be controlled in some degree, yeah? I think everyone's in agreement with that. But if the fox numbers are allowed to grow, obviously then the ground nesting birds are going to fall.
Yeah.
That's obvious enough. So the people that are fighting for foxes to be allowed spread are also the people that love to see the pheasants. But we can pump out as many pheasants as we want. If we're not allowed to control the fox numbers, there will be no pheasants to see, or any ground nesting bird.
Yeah, and that's the crux of it. On top of that, what you're going to have is then you're going to have an increase as a byproduct of that, of foxes in towns and villages.
Yeah.
That's when probably the hassle will start, because people won't they've seen the odd one and they're not really fighting for survival now because the numbers are still controlled. If that happens, like, people are saying foxes self-control numbers. I'm telling you now, they do not. What they do is they spread, so they go to the next available, and I've shot foxes which, and you have too, which are in really poor condition, because, like, that overpopulated in a certain area, you've disease creeping in and so on and so forth. So which would you rather, a fox being shot or hunted, or just dying like the deer, dying of starvation or mange or disease?
Or foxes start taking bleeding Twinkle's your cat.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen.
That is exactly what's going to happen. So, and farmers, I put up this tongue-in-cheek post last week, right? I know you were kind of laughing at me, right? But literally, if farmers have no way of control, like, vice versa, in the towns they're trapping them and sending them out into the country, and they're actually they don't realise what they're doing. But a town fox is a different animal than a country fox. A country fox has been born there. It knows how to hunt. It knows its territory, its land. A town fox scavenges, bins and rubbish and has an abundance of that. So it doesn't really hunt to the same. And they're leaving them out in the country, and they're showing up in poor condition now because they don't know how to hunt properly. So they're not really doing a service to the animal at all. But And I think that this is all part of the education process.
You're taking this left here.
Yep.
We're still on the road for anyone.
We're still on the road again.
And I'm sure you can hear the rain hopping off and the cars going by, so I apologise about that.
Look, this is real life, man. This is the life of a hunting podcast, you know. It's not all studios and glitz and glam, is it?
It's actually none of that.
This is none of that. But yeah, so look, that's I suppose we're going to hear more about that over the next while. We'll keep you posted on it.
You're going to try and get that TD on?
Nisha, I'm going to try and get him back on. What we'd hope to do was, because we have a little bit of camera equipment here now beside us. Your one is on the road from China. So yeah, we have a bit of gear that we can do a little bit of filming and recording on the move now. So ideally, love to get him back out, show him around the club, show him some of the projects we have going on, show him some of the stuff we do in the schools, and have a little bit more talk and I suppose try and showcase the good side of our sport, and the really good side.
We'll be in a better position because we're now starting to travel around, have a look at different people's clubs and different projects that everyone's doing. So we'll be in a better position then to relay that back to him. And then if you want to signpost him to the people on the ground doing it, that could be done as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's how we start to counteract and I think showcase our way of life, our sport, our heritage, you know. So I suppose for too long we kind of stay under the covers a little bit and hope everyone goes away and leaves us alone, but unfortunately they're not doing that, and we've seen by the likes of Sentient Rights Ireland and all these groups, mouse traps trying to be banned, you know, fish hook. Would you like so funny one, right? I put up that picture about fish hook. You know, the Sentient Rights. Have you ever had a fish hook stuck in your mouth? Some guy actually. Yeah, I actually have had a fish hook.
It's not that bad.
It's not really that bad. No, not that we recommend it, but fair play. How one hasn't got stuck in my ear or my head by now, I don't know, but I've been lucky. I still can't remember where that third. That's going to wreck my head now.
We'll have a think about it.
We'll have a little think about that. So yeah, what's the plan for next week then? We're going to get down to Lakeland nice and early, set up the stands.
Oh, for the shoot?
Yeah,
set up the stands. We'll fly through it, and then get ready for the rest of the lads coming down. Yeah.
And you're coming back to Roaches afterwards.
I have to still run that by the other half.
Well, Laura, if you're listening now, she just found out. Yeah. You better get to her before this podcast is released.
What do you think of Sean's dog?
Brilliant.
He's coming on.
Brilliant.
I actually said it to him there, Sean, that dog's a credit to you because he is trying his socks off.
I seen that the blind retrieve over water.
Water?
We went through. Sorry, over an obstacle. We went through a ditch.
Oh yeah. He actually sent me that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he was like, "Here, show people this."
If anyone hasn't seen, tip onto YouTube there, you'll see all the dog training videos. Fair play to you, man. They're smashing.
You can make any dog look good in a video if you spend enough time taking videos.
Look, dude, I'd be waiting a long time to try and make videos like that with mine. Now I have them sitting and staying. I have them marking, and I have them working left and right. So that'll do me. But your dogs are on a completely different trajectory, a different level.
I suppose there's levels to this because I'm looking at other lads' dogs going, I wish my dog was like him. So
it's kind of addictive.
Yeah,
it's hard to get it all. You're now pheasant rearing as well.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
A gamekeeper now, Robert.
Well, basically, I'm a gamekeeper. So I have a batch going on at the moment, and the excitement in the house, as I said on the last one, is just contagious. The kids, I don't know what it is about it.
Yeah.
They haven't even seen anything happen yet. They just know there's eggs and there's chicks hopefully going to be coming. But with that, there's downsides. If a chick dies, they have to be taught.
Yeah.
It's the circle of life, so...
That's it.
But at the moment, yeah, we're firing on all cylinders.
We seen mine last night. Mine are starting to flutter and fly now, so they're coming on leaps and bounds. I've 13 or 14, and I opened up the last because they'd stopped hatching, and I had about on the first batch, about 22 were unfertilised. So we might have a cock that's not doing his job in the pen, and there was 7 or 8 semi-formed for whatever reason didn't hatch. So I got a decent enough return. I got about a half a return out of my batch. I have another 64 down, and they went down to 28. So they'll be due middle of this month. Up in the club, Nolly's flying, absolutely flying.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he had nearly a 70% hatch rate on his last batch. Literally, there was nothing for weeks, nothing for a couple of days. It went over to 22, 23 days. And then just within a couple of hours, about 25 of them come out.
Oh,
and normally, he'd leave the incubator closed, but there was that many of them. They were trampling it, so he had to take some of them out.
Yeah.
And then I'll touch base with him today to see what he finally ended up. But I was up in his house the other day. I brought my little one up, Maisie, and literally Nolly has pheasants everywhere. You open a turkey box, there's 7 or 8 of this. He has a little box over here beside the fire. There are 4 or 5 over there. There's 4 out in the shed. There's 25 out in the thing. So
fair play to him.
Yeah.
He puts in a serious shift, doesn't he?
Yeah. And I like that dude. I can see. I'm not. I know he loves it because you can tell. You go into the house, and Judy, his wife as well, same thing. You go in, and it's the excitement because there's more down. There's some coming, and he's really, really, really enjoying it. So, and that's exactly what it's all about, man. Nolly's retired, and this is. Don't get me wrong. There's work in it, but it's not ultra physical, and it keeps him busy, and keeps the smile on the face. I think which is important.
Yeah.
So fuel level. Oh, we're going to play this game. 50 miles to empty. This will test Rob's ADHD now. I do this all the time. Ash, with 50 miles left, with 70 miles to home. See can we make it work?
Just roll down the hills.
Let's roll. So yeah, and there's we're hoping to get over about 350 up this year. You're coming out with us on the 1st November this year?
Yeah. We're going to come out on the 1st.
We're going to work one side of. It's not actually the club ground where we're going out. We're going to go out on the other side. Because last year we were too condensed in around the one area in the club, so we're going to spread out the releasing a little bit better, and we're going to split up so lads are not crossing over, and keeping danger on the first down to a minimum.
Yeah, and you're giving the younger shooters
more opportunity.
More opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you have a load of guns shooting at the one bird, and then everyone's claiming the one bird, do you know what I mean? And especially if it's unfair on a younger shooter if he shot it.
Yeah.
He might be more intimidated and take a step back. No, fair's fair.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Look at this mad thing.
I tell you, sure you got far.
Yeah.
You got far.
He's gone again.
Gone again, yeah.
Good man. Call out your reg here.
242. There's a dude there now. He's overtaken, and there's about 20 cars in front of him. So by the time he actually reaches the motorway, he's going to be, able to overtake safely. But anyway, look, sure. Everybody keeps. Are we going right here?
We're going to take a right here, yeah.
So yeah, we're just literally here now at Lakelands. Our plans for who's next on the podcast?
We have Paddy Smith lined up. So we have a couple of knife people lined up just to get different perspectives and different techniques. But Paddy has he volunteered actually to come and meet us in studio and bring down a load of samples, and for us then to travel to his. I think Paddy's Roscommon. But to travel to him and have a look at his shop then.
Okay.
So we can do a bit of videoing and show people as he said, the madness of his art. So
brilliant.
That could be something. I'm not sure if we'll get both done, but we're definitely doing one.
Definitely doing one.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So that's next up. So stay tuned for that one, folks. Hopefully we'll bring that to you over the next week or so.
I'm just waiting on him to reply. I'll actually send him a message again today.
Cool. And then we'll obviously have the post clay pigeon shoot and the after party talk. We'll do that coming up as well, and then we'll have some fishing excursions. We actually have a fishing excursion soon, don't we?
on the 8th of July. Yeah.
8th of July with Kevin McGowan down in Spittle. So yeah, and I always look forward to that one. That's like you're organising this for some
people from work. So, but like I always have it's on again. I always have great ideas of going live and all on the boat, but you can't really because the wind does be hopping, so you can't hear anything.
Yeah. No, what we'll do is, I think what we will do, right? If we can, when we come off the boat,
yeah,
we'll set it up and we'll have a little bit of a live interaction with the lads, see how they found,
A lot of them have never fished before, so yeah, no, it'd be interesting.
So we might just do that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Right. Yeah, perfect.
Right, guys, if anyone's out there, make sure and head on over to our socials. You'll find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Like and share, Spotify and Apple. And stay safe and stay shooting.
Thanks, folks.